One challenging area when you're keeping children engaged is seat work. When children are all working independently at their desks or at their tables. There are a couple of things that you can do to make this work better. The first thing is make sure that you give good directions. Too often, children go back to their desks and they have no idea what they need to do. So it's, what are we supposed to do, teacher? What are we supposed to do? Or they do nothing, right? They fool around, they screw around, and they do nothing. When you're giving the directions, make sure that you have all the children's attention. Use your quiet signal, preferably a bell or a chime. Make sure you have everybody's attention, all eyes on you, before you give those directions. Then after you give the directions, if it's really important, you might want to have the children do a little turn and talk, turn to each other and tell them what the directions are before you dismiss them to go back to their desks and work on that.
So these are just some examples of things you might want or might want to change at your home, school, or neighborhood. So what you're going to do at your tables is, of course, you're going to write your name and date. You're going to write the same heading, home, school, and neighborhood. If you want to, you can also copy using one of our answers. That's fine. All right? Now, what you're going to do first, though, is you're going to turn to your partner, talk about one or two things that you're thinking about putting on your list. Okay? Something you have a very, very strong opinion about. Okay? You have about 2 minutes. Okay? Turn to your partner. Whose partner is not here? Who's Isaiah's partner? Me. Okay, you can work with Anthony and Terrence right here. Who's your partner? Okay, Crystal.
Now, once they're working at their desk, there are some other problems that happen, right? One of the issues is they get distracted by each other. So they're chatting, they start arguing over whose pencil it is, they're fooling around with each other's books or crayons, whatever it is. So think carefully about your seating in the room. What we actually know is that children who lose focus easily, like kids with ADHD, they actually do better when we have the desks in rows, because then they're not as distracted. That's not to say that we don't want to do group work. Of course you want to do group work, but maybe you can have flexible seating where children can move away from the group, the kids who need it. And if you offer this to children, it should not be a punishment, like you were bad, now you have to move away from the group. Instead, let's pull our desks apart so that we can help everybody to focus. The other thing you need to do is to be clear on what children do if they need help. Now, if this is a period in which you're roaming the room helping children, let them know that. Maybe you can have a sign that says, "Ask me for help," or that it's okay to ask the teacher for help. And maybe have a signal. I mean, it could be a raised hand, or it could be something that they flip over on their desk, or some way of letting you know that they need you to come over when you're ready. However, you might not want that, because during this seat work time, you might want to be doing one-on-one conferences, for example, during your writing workshop. So in that case, you've got to teach the children not to bother you. And one of the ways you can do that is, again, to have a sign that says "Do not disturb." So right now you cannot bother me, or let them know before that session starts, "Do not bother me." And then teach the children some strategies for what to do instead. Some teachers use the strategy "Ask 3 before me." So that means they're going to ask 3 people. If you have a teacher assistant or some other adult in the room, of course they can go and ask them. Some teachers designate certain children, that might be their job for the week, to be the problem solver. So they might have a little badge that says "Ask me," or a hat that says "Ask me," or a necklace that says "Ask me," so that the children know who they can go to for help. I'm working with one teacher who has a lot of IT problems in her classroom. The Chromebooks never seem to work right, or the kids can't log in. So she's designated some children who are the IT help desk workers for that week. And that's working really, really well. Some kids really like to do that as well. So again, focus on whether they can ask you for help or not, and let them know what the rules are for that particular session. Another issue that happens in doing seat work is children who finish their work ahead of time. This is often your high flyers who are getting it done quickly and don't need time to really go over it. You know, they really can do it and they can do it efficiently. So you need to have some way of letting them know what's acceptable when they're done early. The number one thing that will destroy your classroom management is to leave children with nothing to do, because they are going to find something to do and you might not always like what they've discovered. To recap, good seat work, you need some specific strategies. Give really good directions so that the children know exactly what they have to do. Think about your seating. Are the children seated in a way that they can focus and they're not distracting each other? Teach the children how to ask for help, whether they're allowed to ask you or whether they should be asking someone else, so they know exactly what the procedures are for asking for help. And finally, have something for them to do if they're finished early until you're ready to move on to the next lesson. Those will all help your seat work go much better.